Hello, welcome to today's live weekly attorney chat. I'm attorney Desiree Koger Gustafson with Immigration for Couples. If you are new to our firm or to our Facebook page, we regularly do these live broadcasts to discuss recent events or questions that we are hearing from our consultations or the public in general. If you are watching us live, feel free to comment in the comment section if you have particular questions. Or if you are watching this on replay, certainly you can hashtag replay and also add to those questions. And we always review those. And if it's something we can answer briefly or very quickly, we will do so via our comment feature. Otherwise, we will come back on and do a video regarding that question, possibly in a future date as well. So like I said, we do these regular broadcasts to kind of discuss recent questions that we are having. And there are several regarding the fiance visa that are fairly short that I feel like I can dispense with pretty quickly in one live video. So I'm going to talk a little bit about minor traffic violations, joint sponsors, and then where the fiance visas are processed. So as you may have remembered or from past videos, the fiance visa process is initiated with an application or a petition to USCIS, which is a government agency, a bureaucracy here in the United States. That is the initial kind of initiation of that process. It is true, all of those go to a lockbox, and they are mainly right now processed in California. USCIS always looks at their processing centers and reviews those. And if there are too many cases being processed at one site, or it's really struggling and it appears like that might be long-term for layoff reasons or hiring reasons or anything like that, where they feel like one is getting backlogged, they can always change that. So to say whether or not California is going to continue to process fiance visas, we don't know that because they do make those changes fairly regularly, but currently those are for the majority of purposes mainly processed in California. So that's kind of the first question. After we get through that petition process and we get an approval from USCIS, then it moves to the NVC phase. And that phase involves another application process. You can find videos that we've done on all of those. But it also then moves to consular processing and the interview phase. And that has a lot of different segments to it. And two of those are looking at criminal convictions or police clearance records, as well as looking at whether or not there's going to be support financially for that fiance once they get to the US. So we've talked a lot about the affidavit of support, and there are videos with regard to that as well on our website in particular. But the specific question was whether or not you can have two joint sponsors. So that would be your initial petitioner, the person who is engaged to marry that fiance. That person is always going to have to fill out an affidavit of support. If they have no income or their income is very low, which we do have that quite frequently, lots of young adults. We've had doctors that are still in medical school. So of course, they are still not quite on their own yet. And those people a lot of times do need a joint sponsor. And so that first initial person is going to be the joint sponsor. If that joint sponsor does not quite make enough to support their family with the addition of that fiance as well, because it looks at household, then yes, you can have an additional joint sponsor. And there are forms for that. There's designations for that. They are going to have to satisfy all of those same requirements that you as the petitioner are going to have to satisfy. Domicile in the US, citizenship, proof of employment, taxes, all of those things are going to need to be satisfied by both joint sponsors if you choose to use both. So no, that is a possibility. Yes, I've done that in the past, and can be successful. But again, it's really just making sure your ducks are in a row with regard to the financial means. Lastly, there was a question regarding traffic violations and really whether or not that amounts to misdemeanors. Is that going to be an issue? And as you may be aware, we do have to supply police clearance records for every location that that person who is looking to come into the US has lived past the age of 16, sometimes 18, depending on the country. There are a couple of countries that are 18, but for the majority of the countries, it is 16 and over for more than 6 months. And we do supply those police clearance records if for some reason, usually those police clearance records are a result of a conviction of some sort. And so these are nuances that vary with country. I've seen jaywalking or something that's a kind of akin to jaywalking be an actual misdemeanor or criminal conviction in a foreign country. So it really depends on how that foreign country has adjudicated or delineates that violation. If it is a misdemeanor charge, you have a 1 or 2. The likelihood of that causing an issue at a consular interview is slim. But again, your consular officers have lots of discretion to take a look at that person as a whole, and you're looking at kind of the totality of the circumstances to see whether or not there may be an issue criminally or security reasons on why that person wouldn't want to come into the US. Usually in the US, traffic violations are infractions and are not considered a conviction on your record. So just kind of an FYI there, that's how differently those can be viewed. And so it's something you really want to take a look at. Make sure you're getting the correct police clearance, because there are specifics to what place you can apply to get those police records, and that they are official documents, and that's all laid out for you. So you want to make sure you're getting the correct one, and you're wanting to look at it and see what did that come back and say. And if there is something on there, it would be a good idea to enlist the services of an attorney to look at that, just to make sure there aren't any issues at the interview, or that you're prepared for those issues or questions should they come up. Well, this has been our live attorney chat this week. Again, I'm attorney Desiree. We will come back on next week at 11 o'clock for another live weekly chat. Know that you can always go to our website, www.immigrationforcouples.com. If you click on the resources tab, we have lots of videos and other resources for you if this maybe led to some other questions, or you need a more 30,000 foot view of the process. There are lots of those interviews that we've done out there. Thank you. I will see you next week. Hope you have a great day.